Alright, there we go. We are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Born on 11970. Don't make very many videos these days, but I thought this one was a very important video. And what I decided to do is basically do an audio format. So this way, because those of you who watch any of my channels knows that even if my intent was to do a short video, they tend to be a little long. And some people appreciate that, some don't. That's for you to decide. But I figured at least in an audio format, if you don't have a lot of time, you could do this, listen to this while you're driving, while you're, exercising, while you're cooking, whatever, just to make it a little bit easier so there's nothing visually to focus on. But one of the things I love about life is that when situations arise, and they could even be bad, if you can learn from them, then to me, they are not really bad. And it can make you stronger and grow. Because like they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So Tommy, welcome. So, there's a situation that happened yesterday that I want to discuss. And I think it's very important. And I think I learned a little bit about YouTube, Instagram, things like that. And basically things that I hope will help people go in a better direction, because social media has definitely changed the way people treat one another. Now, some people can use things like social network for good. Some people can use it for evil. Sometimes it goes back and forth. It pretty much always boils down to intent. So, not many people saw my video about my cat, so most people, especially here, may not understand what's going on. So I'm going to give that a little breakdown as to set up the situation for the story that happened yesterday and what I learned from it. And again, if you can learn something, then that's a beautiful thing. So some of you that are watching this may or may not know that I have three stray cats, say that 10 times fast, and one of them has had extreme medical problems. One of our cats, Luna, has heart disease. The medicine ended up giving her liver disease, and all the treatments ultimately gave her diabetes, and all of the medications and treatments ultimately is leading her to pancreatitis, which is potentially fatal. Now, we took her to the vet hospital 2 days ago, as basically it's a last resort. Cost us about $1,250. Well, cost mostly my wife, because I'm not going to sit here and say I did it. She paid for it because I just couldn't afford to, because I was spending money on her food and natural remedies and things like that, and she was amazing enough to do this when I couldn't have. And they said it was supposed to be a 2-day treatment. It ends up, the first day they say it's basically nothing short of a miracle. She was perfectly fine. She was back up, jumping around, eating, meowing for food. Everything's wonderful. They said she might not even have to come back, but they said bring her back just in case, and we'll do the treatments over again just to make sure. Well, whatever they did ended up ultimately making her worse, because I was full of enthusiasm the whole day, very excited. I'm thinking, okay, she did very well the first time, so she's probably going to do even better. So when I got her, she seemed alert, she was meowing, but as soon as I brought her home, brought her into the house, and opened the cage, all of a sudden, she can't stand. She just crawled a few feet, fell to the ground, and would struggle to go to the water, where she would drink for about 10 minutes straight. And out of that, I had a lot of frustration, because she went into the vet feeling fine, came out of the vet's office with all the medicines. They gave her all of her day's medicines in one shot, including steroids and including insulin. So I think it overwhelmed her system, affected her heart, and now we don't know if she's going to live or die. We're waiting to see. We're going to give her a couple of days and see where we end up going, because ultimately I don't want her to suffer. So with that and a couple of other personal things that I won't get into as far as our home is concerned, needless to say, I probably wasn't in the right frame of mind. I was emotional. I had some situations going on. I come across a video from one of the people on my other channel that I viewed as a friend. Now, obviously, we're not best friends or anything. We never met before, but we actually spoke on the phone, communicated. Still to this moment think he's a great person. Unfortunately, the person made a video that their title and their information could potentially lead to people who collect comics, because my other channel is a comic book channel. That's why I don't talk about it much here, or vice versa, because they really don't affect one another. But basically, the information was potentially damaging to people who might be new and may not understand. Now, I wasn't trying to berate the person. I tried to say repeatedly that I trust the person. I thought he was a good person. I didn't think they were doing it for money or anything like that. I tried to make sure that was abundantly clear. Now, in hindsight, having his phone number, I should have called him first. But with the frame of mind I was in, I did not do that, did not even think about that. I just thought I was helping the community by educating what I thought was incorrect information. I knew it wasn't malice. I knew it wasn't done intentionally. And I know the person wasn't, according to what they said, they weren't getting paid to say it. But I still felt the information was wrong. Now, hindsight being 2020, knowing the emotional state I was in, being very angry just coming home from the vet, seeing that my cat may live or die at this point because of what they did to her, I should have waited to make that video, and I would have done it differently if it was a different circumstance. But in life, people make mistakes. Sometimes emotions can make you do things that you may later regret. It happens. That's part of life. After a brief walk and time to reflect, I messaged the person, and they contacted me saying basically they felt very betrayed. Now, when I reflected about it, I thought about it, and I was like, yeah. Now, I did not bash the person, did not insult the person. I felt using the person's name would be more respectful than to just say, oh, I heard somebody say something and kind of just undertone it. To me, I'd rather be straightforward. But I realized, because of my state of mind, I should not have done it the way I did. So I made a video apologizing, and I messaged the person apologizing. They, as of now, since yesterday, have chosen to not respond, which I can respect and understand, but it made me really think about certain things. Because that opened a floodgate, because those of you who have been following my channel for a while know that I've been harassed and bullied and made fun of for years. And because I'm a person who cares, yes, I can absorb some of that stuff, but it does affect, because when you're a caring person, you care about more than yourself. That's why somebody that loves animals would do everything in their power to save them. And yet there are some people who will find pleasure in running over an animal for pure enjoyment. Those are the people who can brush off things. That's not the type of person I choose to be. If that works for you, that's perfectly fine. I'm one of those people, live and let live. And unfortunately, there are people who don't do that or choose not to do that. And that's fine. That's part of life. You will learn something from everything that approaches you. But here's what I understood in YouTube by reading some of the comments, because some people took it as an opportunity to say, oh, well, another reason we can bash somebody. Again, that's a choice. Now, with YouTube, one of the biggest things, and I did this for the long time on this channel, and I actually stopped doing it, and lo and behold, I didn't get any stress from here because of that. But what I thought was, I always hated when I subscribed to a person's channel, and I would take the time to leave a comment, only to have it ignored. And one of the things I realized is, very big channels, they do not reply to anybody. They just ignore the comments. Let them free for all do what they did. I always felt it was more personal to actually want to communicate with people. But unfortunately, when you type words, sometimes they can be taken out of context. Some people could take it for different meanings than your true intention. And unfortunately, bad things can arrive from people who may not have clearly understood what you were saying. Now, in my experience of YouTube, and I've been on YouTube off and on since 2010, way before fake news became popular and social networks were the thing of all things for everyone to be a part of, I felt having a better connection with people and showing who I really was would be something that would be praised. And I'm learning that on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, people show you a side of them they want you to see as them. Like, you'll see videos all over YouTube. You'll see Instagram photos of models who don't even remotely look anything close to their images. Or videos that are so cut up because they don't want you to see that they make mistakes or they said something wrong. I felt me showing me would be the best way to teach people and to help people. And it seems that's not the case these days. And it's hard for me to grasp that because I want to learn from somebody who's the real person, not somebody that pretends to be something. And that seems to backfire these days. But the biggest thing I want people to come across with this, because, true friends can fight. True friends can make mistakes. To me, a strong person is not a person saying, I'm always tough, I'm always happy, I'm always wonderful, everything's great, nothing is wrong. A strong person is showing their vulnerabilities, showing their weaknesses, not being afraid to make a mistake, but owning up to it when you make it. And that's why when I reflected on the video I made, which I don't regret the message, I just regret the way I did it. And I can make excuses, because there was basically the potential death of my animal that I've really put a lot of my heart and soul into that affected my mood at that moment. Now, does that mean I'm some irrational person? Everybody has their moments. Cut somebody off in the middle of traffic. The person that's cursing at you is not normally that person all day. Sometimes you just react. That's part of life. But a true strength is owning up to what you do. So when I made that apology video, if somebody is a true friend, they would listen and understand and may not forget it, may still be a little offended, may not be happy with what happened, but a true friend would forgive and would understand. So maybe there were some underlying issues that I was not aware of. Because the person, like I said, and it's their choice, they chose to decline response. And they may someday. And I still have nothing bad to say about the person. Because like I said, in my heart, I truly believed the person was not getting paid to say it. Truly believed in what he was saying. And I went about it wrong in the way I was giving the information based on how I was feeling at that moment. It happens in life. Nobody is perfect. And yet, some people felt that's an opportunity now. We can judge and point fingers and things like that. And again, people have the right to do that. But here's the thing I want anybody to know on this channel or my other channel, because I know some people that are on my other channel watch this as well, so it's not like I'm doing this to hide. I just felt this is more appropriate for this channel, is that these days people are trying to pretend to be something they're not. And I'm not saying that about any one individual, because if you watch YouTube, or if you're on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, you will only see the best of everybody. They will take clips of that perfect moment with their friends where everybody's happy and everything's going on. You will see videos where they cut after cut. And that's one of the reasons why on both of my channels, especially recently, I tend to do more live videos. Because if I screw up, it's fine. If I make a mistake, I'm okay with that. Here's the thing I want people to learn from this, and why I think if you can have any bad situation, trust me, yesterday was a bad situation. I felt bad because it was not my intent. Because whether you help or hurt somebody is based on intention. Sometimes you could hurt somebody and not intend on doing it. That's the phrase drowning in good intention. But if somebody drowns, you're not going to be happy about it regardless of your intent, if you're a caring person. So mistakes can be made. Your intent could be misunderstood, or you could have just done it wrong, or could have done it better. Forgiveness is true inner soul. When a person tries to say, okay, I screwed up, please forgive me for that. So for me, if you make a mistake and you own up to it, first of all, that takes true strength. Many people just pretend, or they walk around it, or make it into no big deal, or try and just move on. If you are strong enough to admit when you're wrong, especially quickly, and not wait 5, 10, 15 years later, because at that point, there's no healing. It shows how truly strong you could be. Now, when you ask for forgiveness, and you apologize for the things you do wrong, And the other people or other persons or other whatever, if they choose to ignore or not forgive or hate you or turn it into something wrong, that no longer becomes something on you. It becomes something on them. Because forgiveness is letting go of maybe your guilt, your frustration, your anger, your sadness, your regret, your guilt. And saying, you know what? I messed up. Forgive me for it because I care enough to be aware of my mistake. And I am putting myself out there, exposing a quote-unquote weakness to show that I will do better. Now, you can no longer control what somebody else does or chooses to do. And a lot of people tend to take very much negativity on people that try to do nothing but help. Now, of course, like I said, drowning in good intention. I guarantee you, and I hope this never happens to anybody, if you had a child that was drowning and somebody tried to save that child with every intent in their heart to save that child, and that child still drowned, you're still going to feel miserable. And I promise you, the person who tried to save that child and didn't will also feel miserable. Because trust me, neither party would want that outcome. So sometimes in life, no matter what you do, you will mess up. You will hurt people. Some people do it intentionally. Some people do it for fun. And some people had no intention of having that happen, but it happened anyway. It's like ending a relationship. If somebody loved somebody and felt at one point that love was not there anymore, and they chose to be honest and upfront and say, we need to part ways, and the other person's still in love with the other person, they're going to be hurt. But you didn't go into it saying, ha ha, I'm going to screw this person's life. And if you're one of those people, thank God I and you are not them. So to me, you cannot control what others do. You can only control what you do. People will make assumptions about you. People will make opinions about you. People will take what you do and say out of their own perspective and own opinion. You cannot control that. Trust me, I've learned that. But here's the thing about me and both of my channels. 1, I'm not going to be perfect. 2, I'm going to make mistakes. But my intent is pure. And if I make a mistake, I'm going to man up and own up to it. Or person up, I think is the politically correct term to use these days. But one thing you will never see on this channel is me pretending to be something I'm not. And a lot of people these days that airbrush their pictures, who have to make sure their makeup is perfect, or their suit and tie is totally on straight, and give a facade of, look how wonderful I am, look how strong I am, look how powerful I am, look how awesome I am. If that's not truly them, then not only are they being deceitful to you, but they are being deceitful to themselves. And they only hurt themselves, and you only hurt yourself if you pretend to be something you're not. And I would rather be made fun of and attacked for being emotional than to be loved pretending to hold in what I do not believe in. And what I want from all of you who listen to this, and there are 28 people of you out of 47,000, so it shows that YouTube is very much into silencing my channel. But what they can't do is silence it from everybody. So I no longer focus on the majority, because YouTube and Google and Instagram and Facebook and all those social medias made it perfectly clear, if you do not share their political point of views or social point of views, you will be silenced, you will be humiliated, you will be attacked. But they cannot stop it from getting out to everyone. So of the 28 people out of my 47,000, if they listen to this, and only one person gets this information and finds out that, wow, this makes me feel better, or this helps, then to me that's a beautiful thing. So regardless of the bad situations that happened the night before, and regardless of how bad I felt, good can still come out of it. And this is the one thing I want to come across, and what I've finally understood about YouTube. YouTube, as a whole, as well as Instagram and all these other places, is filled with people afraid to be who they are and wish to show you a facade. Big channels, now obviously I can understand why they can't respond to everybody, because if you have millions of people commenting, you would spend your whole life commenting. But there are plenty of even smaller channels that have plenty of time to do it. Ignore the people that are sending the kind words. And I've tried very hard to respond to everybody. And many people say, oh, you shouldn't, like for example, you shouldn't talk about the trolls or the haters, or, you shouldn't get so emotional about it. And I understand some of them are saying it to be caring, and they truly believe in that. But I can only be me. And if I feel this is the way I need to grow and can learn from it and can pass that on to help somebody else, maybe it's a sacrifice I need to take or have to take, because I could change it if I wanted to, and if I don't, there must be something to that. So the easy thing would be for me to ignore people, to not care, to say, you know what, I said what I said. If you don't like it, too bad, so sad. And maybe you don't agree with everything I say or everything I do. Or maybe you don't like the things I say and the things I do and the person that I am. Because maybe somebody out there has been afraid to be who they are. Because sometimes when you think you're right and it goes against what other people think is right, because it all boils down to perspective anyway, sometimes it could be a lonely place. But stand your ground. If everybody in the world thinks opposite of you and makes fun of you because you think in a different way, that does not make you wrong. It makes you different. And that is okay. And it seems these days they are trying so hard to conform everybody to be one singularity. And not a very good one. Not a very friendly one. All about controlling people's thoughts and emotions. I am one of those people that will not conform. Which means I will be subject to the masses who think my viewpoints are different, strange, or wrong. Anybody can be brave in a group. Can you be brave when the group is against you and you alone? Now, the thing is, whether you are right or wrong is irrelevant, because like I said, it has to do with perspective. But stand your ground if you believe in it. And if you make a mistake or you find out that what you believe in is wrong, own up to it. The real people will forgive you. The true people, the honest people, will forgive you. Those who are not will hate you. And there's nothing you can do about it, and that's okay. So, I want you, who is listening for the right reasons, and not waiting for me to say the wrong word to slip up, because that's the thing. Yes, I will slip up. I will say the wrong thing. I love doing live videos because then this is me. This is not a script. This is not an act. This is not a cutscene to say everything perfectly. This is me being who I am. I want you to be who you are, even if it is the most different, most rare, most strange thing in the universe. That is what makes you special. That is what makes you beautiful. And if you mess up and you hurt somebody, it happens. It's all about intent. And if you do something wrong, own up to it and let it go. And you will live a happier life. It's not going to be easy when you care. But as you can see, like in Hollywood, and in the media, and lots of different social networks, there are people that, like Florence just said, an echo chamber group thought. If you are somebody that is wanting to not want to be attacked, and you join a group that you don't believe in, that says more about you than it does the group. True strength is being able to stand your own ground, even if you stand it alone. Even if everybody in your life says you're wrong. That is why the successful channels on YouTube will never talk about these things, because they know there will be consequences for that. Their money will be taken away from them. Their fame will be taken away from them. Like I say, I have 47,000 people on this channel. I will be lucky if 400 people watch this video. But that's okay. I don't do it for the money. Would I like the money? Of course. Who wouldn't? Anybody that says they don't like the money that they get from YouTube is a flat-out liar. Especially ones that are preaching about how silenced they are when they're getting 600,000 views in a day. I can't feel sorry for them, but they have the right to feel that way. Be you. And if that means you don't get as much ad revenue or you don't get as much popularity, at least you didn't sell your soul to the devil. And I mean that metaphorically. And Michael of the Family says, do you have Organite for sale? Yes, I do. If you go to my main page under the banner picture, you will see in the bottom right-hand corner my web store if you're interested in any of my Oregon products. I also sell, for people that are interested in the comic books, I sell mystery boxes. They are there to help support Lunar Cat and for us to move. We're going to be moving in the next 3 months. It's okay to make money, but if that's your number one priority, be very careful. Because like they say, be careful what you wish for, you might get it. There are many people like myself and others who would rather be poor and happy than to sell out everybody to make the almighty dollar. There are many people willing to sell out their own beliefs to be wealthy. I mean, just look at Hollywood, how they've conformed, and the hypocrisy. But they'll be very wealthy. They'll be very taken care of. Look at governments throughout history. How they chose to do the wrong thing because it saved them and their family from suffering the same fate as us, quote-unquote, common people. Always hated when any politician or media or sports person says the regular people or the common people. Like they're somehow higher than us because they have more pieces of green paper. So, did I make a mistake yesterday? 100%. I did make a mistake in my way of handling it. Could I have done it better? Absolutely. Could I have easily ignored it? Yep. I chose to go the right way and ask for forgiveness. When you ask for forgiveness, sometimes people will say no. Sometimes people will say nothing. Sometimes people use that as justification for their anger towards you. But you have no control over what somebody does or does not do. You only have control of what you do. Some find pleasure in hurting others. To me, that is not a life. It is not a worthwhile life. And those are the people who will be forgotten. Be who you are. If you make a mistake, own up to it and move on if the other people or person or parties do not understand or are not willing to understand. Because you don't ever want to stand under anyone's authority. And yes, Freedom Ministry talks about school. School is about sitting front, facing front, standing up when the bell rings, being quiet, raising your hand, respecting authority. It's all about control. Saying, this is our truth, you believe it. And depending on where you are or what time you are, you will learn different things. Because remember, only a few short centuries ago, the church was telling people that the world was flat. Now, whether it's flat or not, we're not going to get into. And just saying that word can make some people happy and make some people triggered. If you are one of those people that goes from one extreme to another just from hearing a word, I ask you to rethink the direction you are headed. There are plenty of people out there who profit off of our anger, off of our division, off of our ignorance, or even naivety. Until you become aware of it. And sometimes we all need that reminder. Even the teacher can learn. And anybody who thinks they have all the answers is somebody trying to sell you something they truly don't believe in. And that is why I've always said, if you write the word believe, there's a reason why the word lie is straight in the middle. So I want you to be true to yourself. Don't do it to be popular. Don't do it to get a bank account. Don't do it to become famous. Because if you are willing to sell your soul and your friendship and your true honor, what did you really gain? Because remember, in the end, your money will not go with you. It's a debt note. And if people are willing to trample over their fellow human beings and be proud of hurting somebody, do we really deserve to have any blessings placed upon us? So I don't regret my sensitivity. I don't regret making videos where I cried over a cat on live TV or live video, because that's who I am. And if people laughed at it, or people thought it was fake, or people judged it, that's okay. They have that right. But it doesn't change who I am. I could have easily been somebody I'm not. And there will be people who hate you for that, because they're too afraid to ever be the real them. And that is why they hide behind a YouTube video, or an Instagram page, or a comment. So I no longer feel anger towards those people. I feel sorrow for those people, because it always boils down to choice. You have the choice to conform because it's easier. But is it right? Is it what you truly feel? And if you go against your own feelings, is it any wonder you're angry, sad, and frustrated, and alone? But even if you are alone, it is okay. Because if you're listening to this voice and it helped you, then somebody you've never met, somebody that never physically touched you, has affected you in a way that may make you better. That shows you are never truly alone. Because trust me, you could be surrounded with a sea of faces and still be alone. The true strength is being okay with it and knowing you will survive. Even if it means that you do not risk your integrity to join a crowd, because that's true weakness. Be a leader, don't be a follower. Leaders are always condemned. Leaders are always ridiculed. But in the end, many times they find out that they were the ones that were on the true path. I mean, just look at religion. Whether you believe in religion or not has nothing to do with it. If you look at the story of Jesus, whether it really happened or not, that was a person willing to be beaten and nailed to a cross for their beliefs. When everybody else could cry or feel sorry or say it's wrong, nobody took him down. Nobody stopped it from happening, because they didn't want to be in the position he was. So who do you think was stronger? The thousands upon thousands of people that were sitting there crying and pointing, but yet watching and not helping? Or the one person who decided to take all of that pain and still loved the people who put him to the cross? And again, I'm not saying that was a real situation or not. I'm saying metaphorically as the story as it's held. One person stood their ground and believed so much in their true love that they were willing to accept the pain of others and still forgive them. Because remember the last words, forgive them for they know not what they do. So do you think the masses were right? Because guess what? None of those people that were at that cross or at the beating got beaten or got nailed to the cross. So they were alive. They were not in pain. But were they truly right? And that's something you need to think about. So, do mistakes happen? Yes. Will you hurt people? Unfortunately, that's going to be the case. Will you be in an emotional state sometimes where you are not saying the things you would when you were a rational person? Of course. Does that make you crazy? No. Does that mean there's something wrong with you? No. Today's world makes you want to think that's the case, because they want you on medications. They want you on antidepressants. They want you to shoot yourself in the head. How's that helpful? I made a mistake yesterday. If there are people that want to kill me for it, that's more saying about them and their thirst for blood. Don't ever let anybody make you feel bad because you're different or you think a different way, have a different belief system, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. ask for forgiveness, but don't expect it, and don't do it hoping or knowing that you'll get a return. Because once you ask for forgiveness, that guilt or whatever you feel is no longer on you. And if somebody or somebodies choose to ignore it, that says more about them than it ever will about you. Doesn't mean you didn't make a mistake. Doesn't mean what you did was right. But it's always intent that is the issue. My intent yesterday was to help. Unfortunately, that was not 100% the case, although some saw it that way. Sometimes in life, no matter what you do, if you try and do things that can affect or influence others, there will be some that love it, some that like it, some that hate it, and some that will hate you for it. You cannot control other people's thoughts. But the one thing, like I said, you will see about my channel is you will see the real me. There will be no cut-ups. There will be no redos. There will be no me being in a suit and tie pretending to be something I'm not. Now, of course, I'm not going to sit here and show you every weakness of mine. Of course, that's going to be ridiculous. Then it's just a therapy session. That makes no sense. Nobody is perfect. And anybody that tries to bash somebody else for their different point of view is somebody that's too afraid to see their inner self and find the beauty because it's so hidden away. But like anything hidden, it can be found and rediscovered. So you choose what you want to be and who you want to be. If you wish to conform, just make sure you conform to what you believe in. Otherwise, you live your life not being you. And then what purpose does that serve? What benefit does that serve? So yes, I'm over-emotional at times because I care. Yes, I'm going to say the wrong thing. Yes, I'm going to be controversial. Yes, I'm going to have my different point of view. But I'm doing it because I'm sharing my perspective and saying, here's me. If you want to attack me and hate me for it, that's on you. But it doesn't change my beliefs, and it should never change yours. If you watch my channel, it's changed from time to time, but I've still been the same person I've been since day one. So that depends on how long you've been watching me. And I will never become famous for it. I will never become wealthy for it. And you know what? I'm 100% okay with that. Because I don't do it for the fame. I don't do it for the money. Although I've been accused of that. And that's the ironic part. Because if I was doing this for the money, I'm doing a pretty crappy job doing it. But there will always be people that have such anger in their hearts that they will do nothing but hurt others to try and fill an empty void that can never be filled with negativity and pain. Because if you truly believe in God, whatever God that may be, I would like to think that there is no God in creation that would want to create hatred and evil and pain and making pleasure out of it. That to me does not sound like a loving God. Regardless of which one or which ones those or they are. So be strong. If you are alone, maybe it's because people cannot relate to how amazing you could potentially be. We are always our own worst enemies. It's bad enough when others hurt you. Don't do it yourself. Trust me, I've been there. And like I said, and I've said it in many videos, if I had to go through all this pain and all this anger and all this emotion and all this frustration and all what I view as the world being unfair, and yet I can turn around and take some of that garbage and turn it into a video like this that helps somebody else not put a gun to their head or think in a different way, then how can I view any of it as bad? And I want you to think the same way as well. And the Freedom Ministry says you're not going to get rich selling products that he sells. He isn't selling misery or hate. You're right. I make enough to survive, and I'm okay with that. Because I would rather survive by being who I am. And like people said, oh, you sell orgone pyramids. So what? I don't remember putting a gun on people's head. I don't remember making a video saying if you don't buy my pyramids or comic books, you're going to die. or the world is going to end. I just say, here's something I make. This is what I understand they do because of my research. If you resonate with them, then you're more than welcome to have them. I even teach people how to make the very things that I sell, which would be pretty stupid if I was trying to do it for money. Like even on my comic book channel, I have videos teaching people my eBay secrets. That doesn't help me financially to give away the secrets. How many people that are rich and powerful say, oh, I have the secret to this and the secret to that? They give it to you for free. Got to pay for that. How many books are out there? How to become wealthy? Well, you got to buy the book to find out. So for me, it's pretty foolish that I give away a lot of the stuff for free, the information for free. Like, for example, the people that attack me for making the Orgone pyramids. You don't have to buy them from me. You could look. It's the number 2 most viewed video on my channel that teaches you how to make them. So if I'm a person that's full of greed and is only selling them to make money, it would be pretty stupid of me to be able to teach people how to do it so they wouldn't have to buy mine. But some people cannot see past their own anger. And I feel sorry for those people. And I will still love those people, even if it's not in a way that is like you would love your spouse or your animal or your parents or your friends. Love can be a lot more than just a sexual thing. There are going to be people in your life that no matter what you do, they're going to hate you, they're going to judge you, they're not going to understand you, and they may even say you're wrong or you're bad because you're different. It only affects you if you choose it to. And sometimes we may need these reminders because maybe they're boosts to get us off our lazy butts and do something better with our lives. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom because then you can't feel sorry for yourself anymore if you want to move forward. Ultimately, your rise or fall is on you. And if you wait for others to pick you up, if you wait for Superman or Supergirl, you'll be waiting forever. And you'll be very disappointed, and you'll have your anger shifted at somebody else instead of yourself. But yet you were still sitting there waiting. It is always a choice. So be who you are. And I want to know in the comment section if you thought this was a good video. And if you did, keep in mind that this came from tragedy. This came from a bad situation. This came with a lot of hatred towards me. Not tremendous amounts. I'm not going to sit here and say millions of people now want my head on a platter. But I did get some pretty nasty comments that I've seen often on my channel. Because I care enough to pay attention. Because I guarantee you, if I was one of those people that had the advice of just ignore, don't respond, then this video and many other videos that I've done would have never happened. And I care more about the one person whose life I saved than the millions who could be happy that I died tomorrow. The one is more important than the many. And I'll give you a prime example before I go. And I hope you watch this when it uploads. Let's say you wanted to win the lottery, and you played the same numbers once a week for 20 years, and you lost every time. So for once a week, 52 weeks in a year, for 20 years, so 20 years times 52, you lost. But then the next time, you hit the jackpot. Do you think you care about the 20 years of losing? Or do you think that one moment that you won will mean everything to you? Unfortunately, we tend to always focus on the woe is me, what didn't happen, and the massive amounts of things that are bad, instead of focusing on maybe that one good thing in your life. The one thing will always overshadow millions of negative people, things, situations, unless you choose to look at it from another perspective. So again, if I can take bad things in my life, the judgments, the ridicules, the assumptions, the false claims, and turn it into something good, then you can too. And again, it doesn't make me an angel It doesn't make me a saint. It doesn't make me a savior. It doesn't make me the greatest person in the world. It just makes me a human who might care a little bit more than just himself. Some people will never do that. Some people will never want to do that. And those people probably will become very successful in this world of selfishness. But I would rather die alone and know that I tried to be right than to have millions of fake friends who I lied to through my whole life to profit and take from them. That to me is not living. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this. I hope you will listen to the whole thing if you did not hear it from the beginning. And I hope you find something good from this. Because like I said, YouTube is going to block this. They already said my animal video helping people feed their animals better, that has been taken away from the ad revenue, saying that it's not revenue friendly, which means it will be extremely limited. That's why it has about less than 300 views. But it cannot silence everyone, because you're here. You're proof that they cannot silence everything from everyone. And that's how powerful you are, that the masses will never hear this. And most that do won't even care. Some will see it even as negative, or, oh, here goes Chris again. But yet you are strong enough to find something good out of this. That says how strong you are. Be proud of that. And that's why I don't regret anything I do, even if everybody else says I'm wrong, crazy, ridiculous, or should do things in a different way, even if they meant it in a caring way. Some people give what they feel is very friendly, helpful, thoughtful, caring advice. Doesn't mean you have to accept it or agree with it. Just appreciate it. But go your own way, make your own choices. Don't be the people who pretend to be something they're not. You will be very successful if you do that. But can you live with that? I've seen lots of millionaires give out plenty of advice, and they basically are people that seem like robots who could murder a bunch of children and not even blink an eye as long as they made $1 million from it. That is not, to me, success. That is not somebody I choose to be or will ever be. Because I cannot do that, even if it's for my own success, and even if it means I have to fail because of it. To me, that's not failure. Because in God's eyes, and again, whether you believe in God or gods or whatever God, that's up to you. But in a creator's eyes that had to have created something out of love, I don't think they'd be too proud of their creations doing nothing but destruction. That's my belief, doesn't have to be yours. If you hate me for my belief for something that I've said, okay. And if you feel the need to have to push that on to me, I thankfully, respectfully decline your offer. And I wish you well. So thank you very much for listening. If you felt this was something worthwhile, if you would like to give it a thumbs up, that would be great. You do not have to. If you think this was absolutely rubbish, you are more feel free to give it a thumbs down. But at least be one of those people, if you thumb it down, at least explain why. Because otherwise, it's just negative reflection of you. Don't be that person. Thank you very much. I love you all. I hope you all have a happy and safe 4th of July. If you drink, please do not drive. Be very careful around the fireworks. Be safe so you can spend plenty of time with the ones you love. A moment of pleasure could end in a second. Don't ever forget that. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.